In the affluent suburbs of Nairobi, young Elijah Camille grew up under the watchful eyes of his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Camille. They were well-known figures in the business world, owning a chain of successful hotels across Kenya. Their wealth afforded them a lifestyle of luxury and privilege, and they wanted nothing but the best for their only son. From a tender age, Elijah was groomed to be perfect. His childhood was a series of meticulously planned activities designed to shape him into an ideal heir. Every moment of his day was scheduled. Private tutors for advanced mathematics, piano lessons with renowned instructors, and sport coaches to define his skills. His meals were carefully curated by nutritionists to ensure he consumed the healthiest and most beneficial foods. Elijah, you must practice your piano for an hour before dinner, his mother, Miriam, will remind him. Perfection is the only acceptable outcome. His father, Robert, was even more demanding. We expect nothing but excellence, Elijah. You will be a leader, a pioneer. Do not disappoint us. Elijah's life was a relentless pursuit of excellence. The pressure was immense, but he loved his parents and wanted to make them proud. He did his best to live up to their expectations, hiding the growing anxiety that gnawed at him. As Elijah entered his teenage years, the pressure only intensified. His parents decided he would become a neurosurgeon, a career they deemed prestigious and lucrative. Elijah had a passion for art, finding solace in drawing and painting, but his parents dismissed it as a mere hobby. Elijah, focus on your studies, his father would say. Art will not secure your future. You need to think practically. Miriam would echo this sentiment. Your talent is commendable, but it is not a career. We want you to have a stable and respected profession. Elijah buried his artistic dreams deep within him, focusing instead on the sciences. His grades were exemplary, but the cost was high. The weight of his parents' expectation began to take a toll on his mental health. He suffered from insomnia, panic attacks, and constant feeling of inadequacy. His friends noticed the change in him. Elijah, are you okay? His closest friend David would ask. You have been really stressed lately. Elijah would force a smile. I'm fine, David, just a lot of work to do. But inside, he was crumbling. The perfection his parents demanded was an unattainable ideal, and the more he tried to reach it, the more he slipped away. He felt trapped, suffocated by the expectations that seemed to draw heavier with each passing day. High school graduation loomed, and with it, the pressure reached a fever pitch. Elijah was accepted into a prestigious university. His parents' dream finally within reach. But the thought of continuing down a path he had no passion for filled him with dread. During a family dinner, Robert made an announcement. We are so proud of you, Elijah. You will make a brilliant neurosurgeon. The future is bright. Elijah forced a smile, but inside he was screaming. That night, he confided in his only confidant, his art teacher, Miss Wanjiru. I can't do this anymore. I'm living someone else's dream, not mine. Miss Wanjiru looked at him with concern. Elijah, you need to talk to your parents. They love you. They need to understand how you feel. But Elijah knew his parents too well. They were set in their ways, their expectations etched in stone. He felt powerless, his voice drowned out by their overbearing demands. As university approached, Elijah's anxiety became unbearable. He saw no way out, no escape from the life his parents had mapped out for him. The thought of enduring years of study in a field he had no interest in filled him with despair. One evening, overwhelmed by the weight of his circumstances, Elijah made a decision. He wrote a letter to his parents, pouring out his heart, explaining the immense pressure he felt and his inability to cope. With tears streaming down his face, he ended the letter with a plea for understanding and love. Then in the quiet of the night, Elijah took his own life. Miriam found the letter the next morning. Her heart shattered as she read Elijah's final words. Robert stood frozen in shock, unable to comprehend the magnitude of their loss. The police were called and the house was filled with the sound of sirens and the sobs of a family broken by grief. The entire neighborhood was in shock. Elijah had always been the golden boy, the boy everyone believed had the brightest future. As news of his death spread, whispers of the pressures he faced began to surface. Friends and teachers spoke on the anxiety he had hidden, the passion for art he had suppressed, and the overbearing weight of his parents' expectations. At the funeral, Miriam and Robert were inconsolable. They stood by Elijah's grave, their hearts heavy with regret. Miriam clutched the letter, her tears staining the paper as she read it over and over again. "We failed him, Robert," she whispered. "We pushed him too hard. We didn't listen." Robert, usually a pillar of strength, was shattered. We wanted the best for him, but we didn't see what it was doing to him. We didn't see his pain. The entire neighborhood mourned with them, but the grief of losing an only child was something only they could truly understand. Elijah's death was a wake-up call for many parents who had also placed immense pressure on their children to succeed. In the months following Elijah's death, Miriam and Robert struggled to come to terms with their loss. They withdrew from their social circle, their once vibrant home now filled with silence and sorrow. The businesses which had once been their pride became a secondary concern. Miriam began to visit Elijah's art teacher, Miss Wanjiru, seeking solace in understanding her son's hidden passion. She looked through his art, every piece a window into the soul of a boy who had yearned for freedom and expression. The artwork was beautiful, filled with emotion and talent that Miriam had never truly appreciated. "Miss Monjiru, I need to know more about Elijah's art," Miriam said one day. "I want to understand what he loved." Miss Wanjiru welcomed her, showing her the drawings and paintings Elijah had created. Each piece told a story, revealing a side of Elijah that Miriam had never seen. The art was a testament to his inner world, a place where he had found solace from the relentless pressure. Robert too sought redemption. He began attending support groups for grieving parents, sharing his story and listening to others. Through these meetings, he realized that his approach to parenting had been flawed. The drive for perfection had blinded him to the most important aspect of being a father, loving and supporting his child unconditionally. Miriam and Robert decided to turn their grief into something positive. They established the Elijah Kamal Foundation, dedicated to supporting young artists and raising awareness about the danger of unrealistic parental expectations. The foundation provided scholarships, held art exhibitions, and organized workshops on mental health and well-being. Through the foundation, Miriam and Robert found a way to honor Elijah's memory. They met other parents and children, hearing stories of similar struggles and offering support. It was a healing process for them, a way to ensure that Elijah's death was not in vain. One day, at an art exhibition organized by the foundation, Miriam stood in front of one of the Elijah's paintings. It was a beautiful landscape filled with vibrant color and life. She felt a sense of peace knowing that her son's talent was being appreciated by others. "Elijah, I'm sorry," she whispered. "I wish we had seen you for who you truly were." Robert joined her, putting an arm around her shoulders. We are doing this for him, Miriam. We are making sure other children don't suffer like he did. The Elijah Kamal Foundation grew, touching the lives of many young artists and their families. Miriam and Robert found solace in their work, knowing that they were making a difference. They had learned the hard way that perfection was an impossible standard and that love and acceptance were the true measure of success. Their home, once filled with sorrow, began to heal. They kept Elijah's art on display, a constant reminder of the boy they had loved and lost. They talked about him often, sharing memories and stories, keeping his spirit alive. Through their foundation, they met a young boy named Daniel, who reminded them of Elijah. Daniel had a passion for music, but his parents were pushing him towards a career in medicine. Miriam and Robert took the boy under their wings, helping his parents understand the importance of supporting his true passion. Let him follow his dreams, Miriam advised. Encourage him, support him, and don't try to mold him into something he is not. Daniel's parents listened, and gradually they began to support his musical ambition. Daniel flourished, his talent shining bright. He became a symbol of the foundation's mission and a testament to the lessons Miriam and Robert had learned. The Elijah Kamal Foundation continued to grow, expanding its reach and impact. Miriam and Robert traveled across Kenya, speaking at schools and community centers about the importance of mental health, the dangers of unrealistic expectation, and the need for unconditional love. They met countless families, each with their own struggles and stories. They offered support, guidance, and resources, helping parents and children navigate the pressure of modern life. Their work was fulfilling, giving them a sense of purpose and helping them heal from their own loss. At one of the foundation's annual events, a young artist named Amina stood up to speak. She had been a beneficiary of the foundation's scholarship program and wanted to share her story. I was like Elijah, she began. I felt the weight of my parents' expectation and I struggled to find my own path. But thanks to the foundation, I was able to pursue my passion for art. I'm here today because of Elijah's legacy. Miriam and Robert listened with tears in their eyes, proud of the impact their foundation was having. Amina's words were a reminder that their work was making a difference, that Elijah's memory was living on through the lives they touched. Years passed. The pain of losing Elijah became a part of Miriam and Robert's story, shaping them but not defining them. They continued their work with the foundation, but they also found new ways to honor Elijah's memory. They adopted a child, a boy named Samuel, who had been abandoned at birth. Samuel brought joy and laughter back into their home, helping to fill the void left by Elijah's death. They loved him unconditionally, allowing him to explore his interests and passion without pressures or expectations. Samuel grew up knowing about Elijah, understanding the importance of following his own path and the value of mental health. He became a talented musician, supported and encouraged by Miriam and Robert every step of the way. One day, as Miriam watched Samuel play the piano, she felt a sense of peace. She knew that Elijah's death had not been in vain, that their loss had led to a greater understanding and a mission to help others. "Thank you, Elijah," she whispered. "You've thought out so much, and we will always love you." Robert joined her, holding her hands. "We are doing this for him and for all the children like him. We found purpose."